Did you miss me? I love you. Almost as much as I love seeing in the dark thanks to our friends at TNVC. If you like seeing stuff more than not seeing stuff, take a look at our sponsor, TNVC.com, your source for quality night vision gear to make you the bump in the night. Wasn't that a lovely segue? I think it was. Well, I missed you folks too, so this week I have an extra heapin' helping of love. Let's kick it off with some more rumor control. No, Canada did not ban coffee. That tweet we all saw about the Black Rifle Company is simply wrong. Possibly intentionally wrong and a well-played marketing stunt, definitely funny, and sure, representative of the overall silliness of the racist PM's proclamation. But fake news. The Black Rifle Company is not the same as the Black Rifle Coffee Company. The Black Rifle Company did make ARs out of Oregon, and their rifles are what are referenced on the ban list. So far as I can tell, they went out of business a while ago, but the guns they made are still banned. Just like the reports of AR15.com being banned are also wrong. We used to make rifles, now we don't, but the rifles that were made are banned by name. Again, it's still a stupid, ineffectual ban passed by an overreaching autocrat. As best I could find, there has only ever been one single murder ever attributed to an AR-15 in Canada, and that was a gang assassination by an actual for-real hitman. I'm just speculating, but I'm guessing his AR probably wasn't registered either. So let's run down the list of things that are more dangerous than AR-15 rifles legally owned by Canadians. Doctors, 5-gallon buckets, blunt objects, stabby things, alcohol, sugar, cars, literally getting struck by lightning, slippery floors, poutine. Seriously? More Canucks have likely choked to death on an undercooked French fry than by AR-15s. And let's not forget that governments are still more dangerous than the people. Remember that the US and Canadian governments had killed multitudes of Indigenous people, and as polite as Canadians are, their SWAT teams breach and clear the wrong houses sometimes just like ours do. Although, I really get a kick out of the idea of a Canadian SWAT team hitting the wrong house and apologizing immediately. Police search warrant, eh? Oh, wrong house, eh? Sorry. But in all seriousness, has anyone stopped to consider whether the Canadian government can pass a background check? Is there any good reason to trust them with weapons? Now, I'm not suggesting that the police should be disbanded or disarmed. I am telling you that it is foolish to allow a government a monopoly on force. Any weapons too dangerous for the people are too dangerous to trust the government with them as well. And that's why I want to encourage you to sign this petition if you are a Canadian, or if you identify as one. I would never encourage you to do anything unethical, but it is worth noting that you don't have to prove you're a Canuckistani subject to sign the petition. So, hey, do as you will with that information. As you are no doubt painfully aware, the current situation has divided the country into factions, just as any other issue that gains more than 5 seconds of our collective attention. So, Team Lick All the Doorknobs, Viruses Are Fake News Caused by 5G is squaring off with Team Keep Everybody in a Hermetically Sealed and Perpetually Monitored Bubble for the Rest of Time. Now, I don't care if you're Team Edward or Team Jacob, but after a recent armed protest about contact restrictions, a Michigan politician got scared and had a group of armed citizens protecting her. That's pretty much it for the facts of this news piece, but there's a whole lot of fun to be had all around the edges. Firstly, it's painfully clear that the legacy media is surprised, confused, and frightened by the idea of armed people of color, and they are projecting their own insecurities transparently. The storyline goes that the people protesting government restrictions are all a bunch of Nazis and Klansmen, but not one bit of evidence was offered to support that claim. And of course, the legacy media dutifully reported that the folks guarding the politician expected to be harassed by police, but they discovered they were treated exactly the same as the previous protest. This ball of contradictions, hypocrisy, and cognitive dissonance is just gorgeous. Most of the folks in the volunteer protection detail look as though they aren't exactly pipe hitters. Now, I'm not saying that gear makes the man or that equipment is remotely as important as training. But training and experience do inform gear choices. The time you spend kicking in doors in Turkestan, competing in matches, or learning new skills in a carbine class teaches you what matters and what doesn't, and it proves what equipment can hold up. So you can usually get a pretty good idea of how wired tight someone is by the equipment that they're rocking. But the fact that these folks mostly look like the average dude on the range is also kind of cool. That means they aren't gun dudes, so to speak. It's easy to forget that most gun owners have 1 or 2 guns and have never heard of a shot timer. And that's okay too. The more these regular folks from all points on the political compass begin to understand that gun rights are the foundation of personal liberty, the more we win. But that's not all the fun. The real fun part is the scared politician. I mean, I believe all politicians should always be scared of the people. You seriously don't want it the other way around. But the really fun part is how this scared politician reacted to the threat of armed citizens by turning to ... armed citizens. It's also kind of funny how she seems to have expected the shocked Pikachu face but was mostly ignored. I don't think I saw anyone annoyed, incensed, or upset about her security detail. What reactions I have seen in the socials have been almost universally something along the lines of, yeah, that's like what the 2A is for? People have been overwhelmingly positive about seeing folks who aren't necessarily card-carrying Republicans exercise their right to bear arms. So that's fun. And all these new people discovering for themselves that the 2A is for everyone means we continue to break records for gun sales. Background checks being performed by the National Instant Check System were up 69% for April, nice, which is the largest number of background checks for April ever. About 1.75 million checks were performed, outstripping the totals for April in every other year by a long shot. The previous record, set in 2013, wasn't even close at less than 1.25 million. As I've pointed out before, the figures for NICS aren't exactly an accurate picture of the number of people buying guns, but they are a very general pulse check for the industry. These numbers don't account for the fact that some of the transfers are for used guns, some are for more than one gun at a time, and many dealer transfers don't involve a NICS check at all if the buyer possesses a valid concealed carry permit. But it seems reasonable to infer that a big part of the increase are first-time buyers, and that's a good thing. And in Massachusetts, those first-time buyers will now have more options to purchase their new heater because U.S. District Judge Douglas P. Woodlock ruled that Republican Governor Charlie Baker's order shuttering gun stores was unconstitutional. Duh. It's worth noting that it was also in contradiction with DHS recommendations and the overwhelming majority of other states, but that didn't stop Baker, so it took a court ruling to turn him around. Woodlock minced no words in his ruling, making it absolutely clear that shutting down gun shops was a gross violation of the Constitution, and just because private sales were allowed to continue did not constitute a reasonable alternative. I particularly enjoyed this quote. There may be in the background a distaste or lack of enthusiasm for the firearms industry in Massachusetts among political leaders. They're entitled to their views as well. They just can't transgress constitutional rights. In other words, you don't have to like it, but you can't interfere. We've also got some good news coming out of Virginia. In a surprising moment of clarity, racist Ralphie issued Executive Order 61, which removes shooting ranges from the category of entertainment and recommends sanitizing protocols consistent with other businesses that remain open. It's unfortunate that it took a lawsuit from VCDL and GOA to make it happen, but I'm glad of the outcome. Please consider donating or volunteering your time for either of them or for another worthy gun rights organization that spends more time fighting for your rights than they do spamming members for donations so senior leadership can buy another yacht. Well, friends, that brings us to the end of this lonesome road. I hope you enjoyed this video half as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did, and if you think I earned it, please consider leaving us a like. If you didn't enjoy it and just want to tell me about all the news that broke the day after I recorded this video and While I was editing it, please be sure to leave a comment. It helps engagement metrics and it makes me chuckle. If you like seeing stuff more than not seeing stuff, consider that you can only see stuff about half the time without some of the baller night vision offered by TNVC.com, your source for the things that you need to make you the bump in the night. And if you want to buy this rad shirt or any of our other killer designs, check out our Teespring store. Thanks for watching. My wife's got some collard greens cooking and we're about to fry up the fish we caught at the Verde River, so I got a jet. I love you.